The WWC, what the world is watching.
Okay, so Awakening Shards.
Awakening Shards.
I do want to talk about Awakening Shards. Let me get serious for a minute. So, Awakening Shards, you're going to run into in Season 6, right? So, we have Tesla, Diva, and Kim that come out. So, what are you going to do with Awakening Shards? So, here's the thing. When you read about Awakening Shards, right? Let's look at the write-up, because that tells you all to me. All right. So your first star is really, you got 5 stars that you can get to, and you have limited Awakening Shards as it opens up. Now, the majority of the Awakening Shards that you get are going to be universal. That's incredibly important to know. Now, where do you get these Awakening Shards? You're going to be able to fight in this little base right here that you get to put on, and it's called the Global Expedition Base. And when you open it up, you're going to get to actually fight different squads, similar to kind of how the armored truck works. You're going to get to fight different squads, and then as you continue to win, you're going to get shards. Now, the first shards that you get are enough to unlock the Awakening skill, and that'll be like for Diva specific shards, or Kim specific shards, and Tesla specific shards. But after that, they're universal shards that you get. And so when Kim first comes out, you're like, oh, let me use them on Kim, and let me move those universal shards up, and let me get, let me push her. Oh, Diva's out. Okay, now I'm going to push her stars and go over. Now Tesla's out. Okay. That's your natural reaction, is to push them to 1 star and 2 star, and really to push them to 2 star, because if you look at the skill itself, what it says is once you get to 2 stars, you're going to deal 20% additional damage. So, of course, you're like, man, I want the 20% additional damage. And then you quickly realize you're out of shards. If you're even lucky enough to be strong enough to get there, you're going to be out of Awakening Shards. Now, what the game has done is they've offered to do this for free, where they'll give you out the shards. You don't have to pay for them like exclusive weapons. But here's the catch. The stronger you are, the more you get. Therefore, the whales and people that are really strong are able to push these a lot further. And they're going to get a lot of Awakening Shards that are very disposable to them. They can go and push everybody, this to 4, and that to 2, and that to 4. They can do whatever they want. The mistake that people do is they start looking at what whales are actually doing with these shards, because they're so strong, they can afford to, let's say, make a mistake or push around things that, on different squads, they can afford to push them because they're getting so many of them. You, if you're not as strong, are going to get limited amount of Awakening Shards. So if you use them incorrectly or not to the best of your advantage, then it's going to mean a lot more for you than somebody else. So my recommendation, as you look forward to this, the big pushes here are 20%, 40% for the stars. Now, if you do a couple, you're going to do it to a 3rd star, you're going to go to a 4th star. They're all valuable. You really have to look at it across how you're using your heroes and how you're going to use your teams. That's the bottom line. What Awakening does do is it bakes you into certain heroes. Now, they do have the hero swap. Now, they do this for a reason. So the Awakening hero swap is cool for 2 different reasons. They offer this through the season for a couple weeks at the end of your season, and the Awakening swap allows you to take all the stars that you put on Tesla and move them to Kim, and you swap. So you take, if Kim has none and Tesla has 4, then you would make Diva have 4 and Tesla have none. You basically just switch them. You swap. Now, this is really valuable. You only get you get like 6 swaps total for the entire time that you have this swap skill, and it's very valuable because it does a couple of things. Number one, well, it does like 3 things. Number one, it lets you actually test how strong they are. So if you are using a 2nd team or a 3rd team, you want to see how strong Diva is with 4, perfect. Then go over there and do that. If you want to do it for whatever hero, you get to test how strong they actually are. That's one. The second thing...
breaking news. Breaking news.
Yes. Breaking.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Tim would be down, but his English is so-so.
I love it. That's even better. I love it.
Okay, I am not. I'm trilingual, as in I try to learn different languages, and I only know like a few words from each.
Yeah.
So,
what does he speak?
We need to know. we need to know what his main language is so we can potentially get someone that like can interpret what he's saying.
Yeah, I would barely. You know what? I'm into all the bot stuff. Maybe I can figure out something he can talk to, and it would just spit out to me another language. Let me work on that too. By the way, I'll get on that. Anyway, so
Yeah.
Awakening Shards.
Next thing to do.
So you have your Awakening Shards. Another thing that's really valuable for when you're doing the switch is if you, let's say I have Tesla, and let's say right here Diva has, let's say I had 40 universal shards here, and Diva has 60 shards. And to move up, I need 100. Okay, so what I could actually do is do a switch of Tesla stars to Diva stars. So now Diva would have this right here, right? Diva would look like this. And now I want to get this last point done. Diva has 60 Diva shards. So how do I get those shards to go with my, let's say, 40 universal? When I make the switch to Diva, I now can use it to give her 5 stars. Then I'm going to transfer those 5 stars back to the hero I want. So if that makes sense, it allows you to kind of gather the other specific stars. So if you're looking at him and you're like, oh, it's Diva, I have to use him for Diva. You don't even have to use them right away on her. You can actually save them, and when the Awakening, the hero swap comes up, you can actually take those for yourself and combine them with the universal to make 1 star on the hero you are looking for. Hope that all makes sense, because if it does, it's really a great tool to use the Awakening swap to use those stars. So here's what I would recommend for free to play and low spend. Whatever team you currently use your third team, odds are that's the team you're never going to play with. Let's just be honest. I mean, 10 years you're going to play with it. But ultimately, you have skill chips on a second team. You have master on a second team. You have, different things that you're not going to be able to replace. You just switch over, skill points, whatever. So that third team is gone. I would not put a single shard into that third squad. Why? Why would you do it? Just because you think that they're hero shards and they have to go to that person? Don't do it. I'm telling you, you can actually use them for a different hero if you do it the way I just explained it. Now, I personally, you'll look at a whale and you'll see them, and they're going to push, you're going to see them with 4 stars. That's the big move because they're 40%. It's obvious, right? I would do, it's the cheapest move to get my heroes to strongest right now would be, if I'm using 3 teams, do missile 4, do air 4, do tank 4, and then complete 5-5-5. That would be the best use of my shards as I'm moving forward if I'm getting a shit ton and I'm 140 million squad, 150 million squad, and I have endless. I'm a 91 million squad. So you could take me as an example of how many shards somebody who's at my size, I'm 313 million THP, and a 91 million, I'm 92 million. You know how many shards I have? I have enough to do 4-star on Tesla, 2-star on Diva, and 2-star on Kim. That's it. I'm nowhere near being able to do 4 on all of them. So I decided that ultimately, right now, I have a mastery that is, I completed my mastery on all of them. I have my missile squad that I'm making my strongest. I picked 1 squad I'm running with, which I've determined for me personally, I think Missile Squad still has an unfair advantage in this game and is the strongest team in the game. So I'm right now pushing Missile to be a little bit ahead of everybody else. So I'm making Tesla 5-star. That's what I'm doing. And I'm going to have my Missile Squad be my best right here. For Tesla will be my number 1 hero here. And then and then you're thinking like, oh, well, then you're going to push Diva to 4 and you're going to push Kim to 4. I'm actually not. Not yet. Once I get Tesla to 5, I want to take in and save any Awakening Shards I get because I want to learn what these other heroes' skills are going to be. If I don't think they're very strong, I don't get enough Awakening Shards to make a mistake, and push a random hero just because they happen to need stars and just because they're on another team. I think if you look at exclusive weapons, the game has already taught you a valuable lesson. Not all exclusive weapons were created equal. So, my guess would be that not all Awakening Shards are going to be created equal. Or not all Awakening skills, I should say, are going to be created equal. And nobody sticks out like a sore thumb, I would say, more than Lucius, right? Who doesn't love Lucius in this game? I mean, there's people that have no interest in air and have pushed Lucius to 30 and use them on every single team. And missile team, you have them on, obviously, with air. If you're using your main air team, it goes everywhere. You just use when you're hitting. Lucius is key for dooms. Like, it's just, Lucius comes in so handy when you have him. So you really need to look at Awakening skills across the board and determine how are you going to use these valuable things. So I personally, even for mine, I'm not going to just dump them onto somebody just because it's going to increase power and just because it's going to, at the moment, do them. If I don't like the skill, I don't feel it's that valuable, or I don't see somebody else using it and it has a battle report that's showing what a difference they're making for the team, I'm not going to be afraid to just store them and wait for the next season to push my next hero, depending how many skills this game gives us. So that's really like I'm right now. I'm a missile person. I'll use 5, and season 7's around the corner. I need to see what the next, how many I'm going to get and what the next hero's skills are, and then I'll make my determination. And at that point, you'll have plenty. You'll have plenty to be able to, if you like somebody, to go back and do them. But I'm not gonna just push everybody. QB18 out. Hey, you made it to the end. Thank you for taking the time to watch. Subscribe and turn on notifications to be notified when our next video drops, and continue the conversation with us over on our Discord. Proud member of Team UXW and Server 118. Congratulations to the team on winning Season 6.
Hey!